Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ntwaniengomane. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are great. Today is such a beautiful day. The sun is out. I'm sitting in my bedroom. I actually have not shot in this room since I moved here, but it's nice and bright. And I have a cup of tea in my hand because we're gonna do a little story time, and I want to give you guys a bit of background into where I started with investing, saving, financial literacy, things like that, because it's always like so impressive to see where someone is with their saving and investing journey and mindset that we almost forget that it's a process that started somewhere. And so, following from my last week's video on like intentionally living debt-free in my 20s, I explained a little bit on how and why that came to be, but I just thought I should extend also a little bit on my saving and my investment journey and how I started, why I started as well, because the why is very important sometimes. But before we get on to today's video, I just want to say the ebook is coming along well. So I'm writing an ebook about interviews, how to prep for them. It's called The Ultimate Interview Guide. So if you've been in my DMs, or you've been wondering and you're like, oh my god, I don't know how to do interviews, how to prepare, how to present myself, how to be confident, stuff like that, it's all going to be in the ebook. It's available for pre-order at 50% off. And you get some perks as well when you pre-order. You get a discounted one-on-one session with me, stuff like that. But it is launching on the 7th of July, which is less than 3 weeks away. Super excited. So I'll leave the link in the description box below, and you guys can go over and see if you want to pre-order that. But anyway, let's get on today's video. So over the years that I have been working, from being a trainee to qualifying to post-qualification, I have always, every month, diligently, without fail, saved, invested, and spent money, right? But I want to take you back a little bit on my savings slash investment journey, because I feel like right now when I tell people, oh, I invest in property, I invest in shares, I invest in this and this and that, and this is how much my portfolio has grown, it's like, oh my gosh, of course. It makes sense. You're a chartered accountant, you work abroad, you make money in pounds and all of these things. It just seems like, well, yes, of course you would do that. Of course you could attain that because of XYZ. But I started at a place where I didn't have anything. Like most of you, I started out with nothing. I started out with my first salary, which was not even 13,000 Rand. My first salary. Yo guys, we come from a very far place. But in terms of investing, I remember the very first time I came across investments or investing as a term. My mom and I were at a funeral at one of my aunts back home, and after the funeral, I just remember the conversation in the car among the adults was, oh my god, that was such a beautiful funeral, the casket was so beautiful, it looked expensive, the tombstone was expensive, the flowers were nice, the food, they talked about how the different burial societies, what they brought and what was in the funeral, and it was also nice and impressive, and it was a good send-off. And I remember one of my aunts, she was very well established in her career at the time, in the education space in the Limpopo province. She said, guys, they were talking among themselves, so she was not saying this to me specifically, and she said to them, like, it's so nice to have a nice send-off, but the thing with our people, is that we are always thinking and saving for and investing in what if I die, but no one actually stops and thinks about what if I live. And that was the very first time the concept of investing, now what I know to be investing, was introduced to me. So it was not in the traditional sense. She was just talking about, wow, they were so well prepared for death, but I wonder if they are prepared for life, you know? So yeah, that was the first time, and I started looking at it differently. And I asked her, like, what do you mean prepare for life? Like, prepare for living, what does that mean? And she said to me, well, you know, every month your parents contribute to a burial society or a funeral cover or something. Like, they are contributing financially to what if I die, but are they contributing financially to what if I live? And I started seeing this differently. I was like, oh my gosh, when I start working, I am going to invest in what if I live. And that's where it started for me. Back in high school, I had no money, but the seed was planted on that funeral. I don't even remember who had died. God bless their soul. So years later, I'm in uni, and you know, my mom is giving me my allowance every month, and she says to me, you know, every month when we give you money, you need to put money away for just in case. And I said to her, what is that? She said, it's money that you're gonna use if they kick you out of res for any reason. It's money you're gonna use if you get into trouble and you need money right away. It's money you're gonna use to buy a bus ticket back to Limpopo if anything happens in Gauteng or in Pretoria where you are. So that concept as well of having money for just in case was also born at that point. My parents were not really financially literate, but I think my mom had her head in the right place. She wasn't there 100%, but she knew some things, right? And that is now the concept, what we call emergency fund. So when I started working, among the many decisions that I made, i.e., you know, deciding to live debt free, I also intentionally decided I'm going to invest in what if I live. And so I started my journey like watching, I think the very first financial literacy thing I watched was a video by Nicolette Mashile, and yeah, I just took it from there. You know, she spoke about easy equities, she spoke about the Frank app. She spoke a lot about investing in property. I remember one time reading the book by, what is his name? Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I went to a property webinar. Like, it was just, I was just going with the flow, and it just made sense at the time. So when in 2019 I started working, I found out that my employer at the time wasn't contributing to my retirement. So there wasn't any retirement investment or a retirement saving that I was contributing to through my employer, because I was classified a contract worker. And that's another thing I want to make you guys aware of, especially if you're still in articles or you are a contractor, is that your employer is not contributing to your retirement if you are a contract worker or you are a trainee on a 3-year contract, because you're not a permanent employee. You don't get those benefits, well, at least from where I was working. So I was like, wait, if they're not contributing, that means I'm gonna miss a whole 3 years of not contributing to my retirement. I need to do something. And I started watching videos about it and started my first investment. I started my first investment through Easy Equities. This video is not sponsored by Easy Equities at all, but if they do, so there's hella at a girl. So my first deposit, actually no, I lie actually. My very first investment, you guys, I remember calling my friend. He was a year ahead of me. I remember calling him like, dude, I just realized that this company is not contributing to our retirement. Like, what are you doing about that? Like, what are you doing financially for that? And he told me. And I remember opening a Alan Gray unit trust account. At the time, the minimum contribution at the time was 500 Rand. Was 500 Rand? Yeah, I think it was it 500 Rand? I don't remember, but I think it was around 500 Rand. No, it wasn't 500. It was less than that. And I started putting in that money every month. Every month since 2019, I've been contributing to that unit trust. I still have it today, and I have not withdrawn a cent from that unit trust. So you can calculate how, I don't remember if it was 500 Rand or less. I can't remember how much it was, but anyway, that was the first time I ever had an investment in my name. After that, I started with Easy Equities. I read a book called How to Make Your First Million. Is it called How to Make Your First Million? Yeah, I think it's called How to Make Your First Million. By Jason. Is it Jason Lee, or am I confusing it with the other book? I don't remember. But it's called How to Make Your First Million, yes. And there's a section in that book that talks about how you can do that as an employee. Guys, go read that book. I've recommended that book on this channel so many times. I read that book and I started my journey with Easy Equities. At the time, I was also watching Nicolette Mashile's videos, and she was explaining how Easy Equities work and what to invest in, you know, stuff like that. And I started with Easy Equities. Easy Equities, I started with 500 Rand every month into the S&P 500. So I started there, 500 every month. When I got a raise, I'd put in extra, I'd increase my contribution. When we got a travel claim, guys, back in the day when we still had travel claims, I don't know if there are travel claims right now in articles, but damn, we made money from travel claims. Every time I get my travel claim money, I would put it in there. Like, guys, travel claims are so good. Like, sometimes you get like double your salary just from travel claims, or like triple your salary in a specific month just from travel claims. And I'd use that money to put into my investment. I was so hooked in seeing my money grow. The other thing that I also did was simultaneously between investing, because Easy Equities was an investment vehicle and the unit trust was an investment vehicle, I also started saving as well. And my saving was in my Investec private bank account. If you don't have that account and you're a young professional and you meet the criteria, sis, you need to get that account, because it changed my money. It literally changed my money. I will leave the link in the description box. If you meet the criteria, do apply. Yeah, I used my Investec private account. In that private account, there is a sub account called the Prime Saver account, and oh my gosh, the interest rate in that thing, you need your money in that thing. My money grew so much in that, it beat inflation every time. So I started saving money in that as well, and I was just so obsessed with watching my money grow. I always tell my friends, like, I'm so obsessed with seeing money in my account. Like, if every time I feel sad or some type of way, I just go into my Easy Equities and I'm like, but I'm not broke. You know, like, but at least I'm not broke. And that's how the journey started for me. I got so obsessed with seeing my money grow. And the one thing that I'll always be grateful for me is that this also spilled over to my family around me, my friends around me as well. They started like, oh my god, you're doing this thing, this is how much money you have, or this is how much money you've invested, I need to get started. And so I got my parents on it, I got my brother on it, I got my cousins and their families on it, and it's just become like a great way to put money aside for what if we live, you know, because I believe honestly that yes, we know we're gonna die. And when we die, somebody's gonna spend all this money. If I were to die tomorrow, somebody's gonna withdraw all of these investments I'm telling you guys about, and they're gonna spend it anyhow they wish, because what, I'm not there. But what if I live? Like, what if I live and I need that money and I need to use it for something? I want to travel the world, I want to take time off work, which is another thing. Remember when I said I started investing because my employer at the time was not saving towards, or was not contributing towards my retirement. Now I'm at a place where I'm like, I have a mini retirement pot that I don't necessarily have to wait until I'm 65 to use. Like, I could access that money and take a mini retirement from my job, because I have invested in that retirement. And it's not an institutional investment. It's not something that is bound, until I'm 65. It's a private investment that I decided to make and that I have access to at any day. So that's where my investment journey started and how I started, guys. I started as little as 500 Rand every month since 2019 in my articles years, and I'm now 3 years post qualified, and I still have that going. Like, I've built the system and it's still going and it's still working for me. So that's how I started, and that is why I started, because I wanted to save and invest for what if I leave. Will I never invest in a funeral cover or a death policy? I don't know what they call it. Probably not. I probably will. I mean, when I do get to a point where I have, financial dependence, and I have things like properties and things that need to be paid out, or things that have debt, and I need to make sure that that debt is settled upon my death, then I will take some sort of cover for it. But for now, my vibe is investing for what if I live, because I hope I live. I hope I live. So yeah, that is my story. And that is how it all came to be and how it all came about. And now I tell anybody, especially if you're in articles, guys, before you get the big fat salary after you qualify, start having the habit. Start having open the unit trust. Open easy equities. There's a demo account there where you can play around with the fake account and fake money and see what works. I'd advise you to check out the S&P 500. I would advise you to check out other ETFs on there as well. Watch as many financial literacy videos as you can. Read books. That book, How to Make Your First Million, changed my life, because I'm almost there. Like, I'm almost at the goal, and if it wasn't for that book, I probably would still be struggling and would still be like, oh my god, I don't know how people have money, make money, stuff like that. So that's how I started, and that is why I started. But after that, it's just been so fun, like, to see my money grow, to see to also buy a little bit of my time back, because like I said, I started saving for investment, for retirement. But now I'm like, maybe I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to retire. Maybe I want to take a 1-year retirement gap from my job, and I can do that because I've been saving and investing towards it. And yeah, that's just how, like, having your own investments, your own savings, your own money gives you freedom to buy things that you wouldn't otherwise, things like time, things like experiences, so yeah, that's my story. I hope the story time was fun. I hope you learned something at least from it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below and let me know how and why you started your investment and savings journey. And if you have not started yet, I hope this video pushes you in the right direction. Don't forget, the ebook is available for pre-order, 50% discount, launching on the 7th of July. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.